This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Hello viewers, I'm Berka Sisa and this is the Pulse of Africa, our top stories for today. Prosperity Party wraps up its second Congress. US airstrikes in Somalia killed key ISIL figures. Southern African bloc backs Congo's territorial integrity amid M20's rebel offensive. Global alarm and condemnation as Trump tariff hits Mexico, Canada and China. Now to the stories in detail. The Prosperity Party wrapped up its second Congress in Addis Ababa last night, culminating in the approval of an 8-point resolution. The party has committed to resolutely implementing the resolutions of the Prosperity Party Congress with unwavering determination, maximum effort, and decisive actions. During the final day of deliberations at the Prosperity Party's Congress, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed was re-elected as its president. Moreover, Temesgen Truna and Adam Farah were elected as vice presidents of the Prosperity Party. The Congress of the ruling Prosperity Party, which is the largest political party in Africa, was graced by numerous leaders and representatives from political parties worldwide, marking it as a momentous gathering. The Congress was held under the theme "From Pledge to Practice" to emphasize action over rhetoric. Ghana and Comoros forge trade and infrastructure ties. President John Dramani Mahama has engaged in talks with Comoros President Azali Assoumani for potential areas of cooperation, including infrastructure development, trade, and visa-free policies. The meeting, which took place in Accra during a state visit by President Assoumani, marked an important diplomatic engagement between the two countries. President Mahama emphasized that the importance of dialogue initiatives such as the African Prosperity Dialogue in addressing low trade levels among African countries. President Mahama highlighted Ghana's commitment to visa-free policies, allowing Africans to move freely on the continent. Both leaders discussed potential areas of cooperation, including infrastructure development, trade, and visa-free policies. The government of Somalia's semi-autonomous Puntland region says airstrikes by the United States in Golis Mountains killed key figures of ISIL or ISIS group. US President Donald Trump said he ordered precision military airstrikes on senior ISIL attack planner and other terrorists in Somalia. ISIL had a relatively small presence in Somalia compared with Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab, but experts have warned of growing activity. Trump posted on the Truth Social platform that the U.S. airstrike destroyed the caves they live in and killed many terrorists without harming civilians. Shifting to SADC. The Southern Africa Development Community backed the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Democratic Republic of Congo amid an offensive by the M20's rebel group. The regional bloc also urged the immediate dispatch of ministers and defense chiefs to ensure the SADC peace mission in Congo, Sami DRC, that troops are safe and to facilitate that immediate repatriation of dead and injured troops. Zimbabwe hosted the SADC summit Friday as M20's rebels claim control over Goma, the capital of North Kivu province, which borders Rwanda. It also called for a joint meeting with East African Community EAC bloc to deliberate the conflict in eastern Congo. The EAC held a separate virtual summit Wednesday and demanded that Kinshasa directly engage with the M23.
Ethiopia is my blood, your story and our identity, ornamented by centuries of sacrifice. The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Trump and his tariffs. A barrage of condemnation has rained down on United States President Donald Trump following his decision to impose stiff tariffs on imports from neighboring countries, Mexico and Canada, as well as its largest supplier of goods, China. Sunday saw no pause in the expression of criticism on the U.S. leader, a day after he signed 3 separate executive orders imposing 25% on goods from Mexico and Canada and 10% on all imports from China. Reactions from Mexico, Canada, and China were the most immediate, as well as a raft of other nations, groups, and organizations. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Canada has struck back on U.S. tariffs with a $106 billion in tariffs on American products entering Canada. President Claudia Sheinbaum ordered retaliatory tariff against Trump's decision. China on Sunday firmly opposed the U.S. announcement of a 10% tariff on Chinese exporters, vowing to take countermeasures to safeguard its interests. Japan on Sunday expressed its U.S. concern over the potential impact of U.S. tariffs on China, Canada, and Mexico. A Norwegian-owned Russian cruise ship that authorities initially suspected of involvement in damage to an underwater fiber optic cable connecting Latvia and the Swedish island of Gotland has been released. Norwegian police say that no findings had been made that would have linked the ship, the Silver Dania, to the act. Tromsø Police District has now conducted a number of investigative steps and secured what we see as necessary considering the request from Latvia. The investigation will continue, but we see no reason for the ship to remain in Tromsø any longer, Tromsø Police Attorney Ronny Jorgensen said. The Silver Dania was stopped on Thursday evening and brought into the port of Tromsø in northern Norway on Friday morning by a Norwegian Coast Guard vessel for inspection. That's all from me for today, and Buzayo is ready for the business news.
Hello and welcome viewers, I'm Buzayo Bogala with the Pulse of Africa Business News. First, the headlines. Rwanda's oil discovery raises hopes and concerns. Candidates are on the race to the African Development Bank presidency. Now, the news in detail. Rwanda has made a groundbreaking discovery of 13 oil wells in Lake Kivu, sparking debates over the country's economic future. The new found resources hold the potential to transform Rwanda's energy sector and boost economic growth, and environmental concerns loom large. Lake Kivu is an ecologically sensitive area, and experts warn that oil extraction could disrupt the delicate ecosystem and threaten the livelihoods of thousands who depend on the lake for fishing. While the government has emphasized its commitment to sustainable exploration, stakeholders remain divided on how best to balance economic benefits with environmental protection. The race to lead the African Development Bank picked up pace this week as the Zambian, Senegalese, and Mauritanian candidates pledged to boost faster development of the continent. Ex-World Bank senior official Samuel Maimbo of Zambia formally launched his campaign and will fight it out against Senegal's Amadou Hott, the special envoy of the bank's Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa, and Mauritania's Sidi Altah, former Director General of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa. Since assuming leadership of the African Development Bank in 2015, Akinwumi Adesina, a former Nigerian agriculture minister whose term ends in October, has championed Africa's agriculture as a unique investment opportunity. The African Development Bank, the only African financial institution rated AAA by Moody's, Standard & Poor's and Fitch, selects a new leader next May to replace Nigeria's Adesina, who is not eligible to run again under the bank's constitution. Let me take you to the latest global commodity price news.
That's all from us today. Don't forget to check our website for updates on this and other stories. We thank you for joining us.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.